That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.
Welcome to Of the Eldest Gods, where we discuss Rick Riordan's role as our godly parent.
I'm Taylor from Cabin 6.
And I'm Charlie from Cabin 13.
How are you doing today, Charlie?
Well, I could be doing better. But at least I'm not a demigod. Actually.
Have you checked recently?
You know what? I should do that. I should go check. Why don't I just... I don't know how to check that.
Before we get started with our read-along of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, we thought we should tell everyone a little bit more about ourselves. How about you go first, Charlie?
Oh, okay. Putting me on the spot here. Hello, I am Charlie. You guys can use they, them pronouns for me. I'm very queer. I'm bi. I am a writer. I am an internet creator of things. I make a podcast as well as this podcast. I'm a yeah, I said I'm a writer, didn't I? I don't know what I'm doing here.
Great job, describing yourself.
I am a person and I'm ginger. That's important. I'm a nerd. How about that? I'm a nerd and I like Percy Jackson. Does that suffice for you?
I don't know, does it suffice for you?
I don't know how to describe my being. How does one describe their being?
You assume I am a being.
That's true, you're not.
I'm Taylor. I use she, her pronouns. I am biromantic and demisexual. Fun fact about me is I record in my closet, so if you hear any weird noises, assume something fell on me inside the closet. I am a teacher outside of podcasting, so if you're one of my students, you should stop listening right now and do something productive.
Don't listen to this. We're probably gonna fucking swear a lot.
Explicit language warning, insert here.
I feel like we're gonna have the explicit tag. Is that not
yes.
the plan?
Yes. So what does Cabin 13 mean, Charlie?
Well, that means I'm a child of Hades, which means I'm super emo and into death shit, but also I'm in a rainbow room right now. So that might give you the wrong impression, but I'm definitely a child of Hades.
No, they're definitely a child of Apollo, but we're gonna agree to disagree here.
Shut up! Why does everyone say that?
I'm gonna cut that. I just wanted to say it.
Yeah, so Cabin 13, even though, in the original series, there's only the 12, and Hades gets lumped in 13, that always makes me so sad.
I feel like an unlucky number for an unlucky god.
I mean, it makes sense, definitely, but it's just kind of boop, added him. He's the next one.
He gets the shaft on a lot of things, so what do you expect?
What's your godly parent? What's your cabin?
Huh? Oh, I am in Cabin 6, because I am a daughter of Athena. You'll quickly learn that I am very, very nerdy. To a fault.
She's a big-ass nerd.
I feel like it goes with the territory of being a teacher, in a way. I spend my entire working world time in history books and writing lessons and talking about history, and so I think I went to the right profession for what my godly parent is.
Are you sure about that? Oh no.
I mean, yeah. I always come back to the what else would I have done when I think about my life plans? And I'm like, well, this is what feels natural, so here we are.
You know what? You know how I would describe myself? I'm like Nico before he got like even super super emo, because like he was all into mythology and shit, and he had his fandoms, and then he got super depressed and gay. So I'm like both, but like more outwardly
Yeah, I feel
child
like
Nico.
I'm definitely a good, almost foil to Annabeth, in that her specialty comes in the sciences and maths, whereas mine comes on the history and English side of things, where we both have a mix of them, but I have my preference.
I feel like she's got to know some history because she knows architecture and shit, right?
Well, yeah, I also have to know architecture, but I do not have to do architecture.
She definitely knows more mythology, at least, than Percy, because she's always explaining shit to him.
Yeah, I mean, there are days when my students have derailed entire conversations to talk about mythology, so this conversation carries into my actual classroom sometimes.
I love that so much.
Without the expletives.
Taylor, I want you to be my teacher. That would sound so fun.
Eh. Eh.
You're fun.
Okay. You tell them that.
I'm telling you, listener, Taylor is fun. She just has a lot of dry humor. You know? Dry and crusty humor.
For a dry and crusty person. So, do you want to talk about what Of the Eldest Gods is and where we got the idea and why?
You know, you don't have to like phrase it as a question. You could just say it.
Do you fucking understand what my job is? It's not even like I'm doing it on purpose.
You could just say it.
No, this is I will say it, but I'm just telling you, this just happens normally. My poor boyfriend gets this all the time.
Oh my goodness. Poor Joe.
Okay, so I will talk about what Of the Eldest Gods is, since Charlie has decided to make fun of my speaking.
I will make fun of you till the end of time.
Of the Eldest Gods is a chapter-by-chapter show going through all of Rick Riordan's series. So we are going to be starting out with Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Each week we'll be looking at a new chapter. Probably in between books you'll see a couple bonus episodes, including looking at the movies.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm actually excited about that, because I want to rip on those movies.
And we'll have some fun things along the way. In season 2, you will also start seeing guests show up on our show.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So after Percy Jackson, we will take a break and dive into the Kane Chronicles before jumping back into Heroes of Olympus.
And then Magnus, right? After Heroes, and then Trials, I think,
Yep.
is what we said we're going to do.
Magnus Chase, and then Trials of Apollo.
Every other one is Greek and such.
To give you a break, and also to give us a break.
Yeah. Just a little bit. You know, we can get sick of Percy. JK, we can't. Yeah, so every episode, I'm going to be doing like a little myth and folklore corner type thing. Maybe we should give that a name. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe it'll just be that.
Suggest names to any of our socials.
Yeah, please do that. Yeah, I'm just going to be talking about what relevant myths are happening in the chapter. And then Taylor's going to do another bit about...
So, especially with the first book, it's more going to be focused on where the hell are we in the United States? Because we don't really leave... There's a few times. But it's mostly in the States. And then when we get to some of the other series, especially in ones like Hero of Olympus, when there's more history involved, I'll also give a brief overview of what's affecting that. There will be some of that in the first series, but it's a lot more of modern day affects on their adventures.
Okay. So, I've read all of the original series, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I've read all of Heroes of Olympus. I've read all of Kane Chronicles, all of Magnus Chase. And I'm only read 3 books of Trials of Apollo because 2020 reading slup hit me before I could finish the 4th book. And I've also read several of the other books, like Percy Jackson's Greek Gods and Greek Heroes and Demigod Diaries, Demigod Files. Oh, I also own the graphic novels.
Wow, just show me up, man.
And the illustrated Lightning Thief. I could also mention that I own the coloring books. There's a lot of things that I own, but I also still haven't read of expanded books. But
so I have not read as much as Charlie has. I have read both Percy Jackson and the Olympians, as well as Heroes of Olympus and the Kane Chronicles. I have not read any of the expanded stuff, as well as Magnus Chase or Trials of Apollo. Heroes of Olympus came out, finished up when I was still in high school, and I just didn't pick them back up until after I graduated this past spring, so it's one of those things where I always think about them, but hadn't jumped back in.
And this gives you an excuse to jump back in! Woo! We'll get there in a couple years.
Eventually, maybe. So, I know for a fact that I will super enjoy reading Magnus Chase and Trials of Apollo when we get there, but I am super excited to go on the journey through the books I've already read with Charlie and anybody else who's reading along with us.
Yeah.
So, my writing friend here.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on Rick's writing?
Well, let me tell you a thing that you already know, but let me tell you a thing, listener. So, back in elementary school, I wanted to be a vet. Guess what? I now want to be a writer. I am a writer. That is very much influenced by Rick Riordan. I love his stuff. I love the voice he uses in his writing. And I've become a crazed mythology nerd ever since. So I think he affected my life in a few different ways, to say the least.
Just a little.
Just a little bit, you know? Don't we love Rick Fireman?
Please expect me to pronounce his last name wrong on this pod. Always. I would like Uncle Rick to know that I do not mean to do so. And I deeply apologize for the fact that I am terrible.
Just call him Rick Fireman. Just do that.
He's just Uncle Rick.
That too.
So, I read them for the first time in 7th grade. There was a boy in my class named Bobby. Hi, Bobby, if somehow you find this.
Hi, Bobby.
And he was reading them, and he kept talking about them, and Lord knows I probably had a crush on him because I was in 7th grade, and that's just how that worked. And so I picked him up, and then that was the end of it. And it was nice because I had a built-in friend to talk about them with, because I had picked them up from a friend. So that was really fun. And it was cool to sort of grow up with his writing then into middle school as I was going through bullying issues, and then moving schools when I went to high school, and just having that comfort of going back into that series. Especially, I definitely reread Heroes of Olympus a couple times. It just felt like home. And the other big thing I know for me, and I know for you as well, Charlie, is the growth in diversity throughout the books.
I knew we were getting to this.
I will go on a soapbox here. I go on a soapbox probably at least once a day, maybe once an hour. We're not sure yet. This is another place where my Athenian parentage becomes evident. However, so we see in Kane Chronicles and Percy Jackson and the Olympians very bland character.
Very bland.
Well, it's very whitewashed, hetero, cis.
I mean, with Kane, he does like start branching out a little bit. One of his main characters is black, but he's also a white man, and he hadn't like fully branched out there.
Well, I was gonna get to that, where it's like you had Percy Jackson, where it was all very. Then it started to get better in Kane.
There's like one black guy in Percy Jackson, and it's Beckendorf.
Or Grover. Or Grover, if you're like me and think of Grover as being black.
In the movies, especially.
Yeah. So, you have that, and then you get to Heroes of Olympus, and you start getting our first real Latinx character. We are seeing more sexuality differences. We sort of see a little of that pop up in Percy Jackson and the Olympians, but it's not as... It's subtle in those. He isn't just being like, hey, these people are in a relationship. We're moving on. He sort of tiptoes around it in that first series.
I don't remember if there were any explicitly gay characters even in the background in Percy Jackson.
I'm thinking of one specific character where I guess we don't find out about that until later.
Yeah, it's
in Heroes. Yeah.
I already said he's gay earlier.
And obviously, I don't know what happens in Magnus Chase and Trials of Apollo.
There's gay.
Yeah.
That's all. That's it. It's very gay.
Just gets very gay.
Listen, Norse mythology is super fucking gay.
Yeah.
So
that's a fair point.
Mm-hmm.
But so that just proves my point that it sort of grew over time, and we sort of grew with it.
Yeah. Did I? Yeah. I would say I grew with Percy. You know, fun fact about me and Percy Jackson, his birthday is like the day before mine. So we're basically twins. You know?
I like the fact that I was 12 when I started reading the books.
I was too. I was also in 7th grade. So it was a year before you.
Yep. The series have stuck with us. Obviously, we're back reading these as young adults. I guess we should have mentioned that. We're both rather young.
Yeah, we're adults, but we're young adults. Actually, I don't want to be an adult. Never mind.
I have to be an adult.
You do. She's a year younger than me, and she has to be an adult.
Yike. But it's nice that we have a book series that we can share with people of all ages and come together in this podcast and relive our memories of it and then share it with guests later and people who are listening and just go on this journey rather than keeping it all in our heads. This gives us a time and place to really talk about it in this world where it's really hard to find time to talk about things.
Yeah. Friendship and Percy Jackson. That's what we're talking about.
Friendship is magic, yeah.
Friendship is Percy Jackson.
Friendship equals Percy Jackson.
Damn, that should have been the name of the podcast.
Damn it.
Fuck.
However, we decided that so that we could go ahead and branch out into all of the Riordan verse, we didn't want to pigeonhole it into Percy Jackson. So that way, if there are those of you who like Egyptian or Norse mythology more, you're still going to feel comfortable as we read some of these series.
Yeah. I'm very happy I named the podcast, if you didn't know.
I'm not the creative person here.
Yeah, she was just like, hey, you want to do a podcast? And I was like, yes. I will give you a name. I will make an icon for you. Just edit for me. That's all I ask.
Yeah. We share the whole, prep and everything. But you do the creative stuff and the social media and I do the administrative stuff because I am terrible.
Yes, you are. Taylor is terrible, but I love her.
At least one of us does.
Oh, don't make me cry. No! That's sad, though.
Nah, I'm just kidding, everyone. Maybe. So, we really hope that you come along on this journey where I make terrible jokes like that and make Charlie cry.
Yeah, I was laughing for most of this pod, but now I'm gonna cry. So
it'll be a silly adventure as we make a silly podcast.
Well, I guess this is the end of episode 0. Taylor, I have something to say to you.
What is it?
Come out of the fucking closet.
You can follow the podcast socials at Of the Eldest Gods Pod on Instagram and at Of the Eldest Gods on Twitter. You can send an iris message to us through oftheeldestgodspod@gmail.com. You can follow me, Taylor, at Taylor from Cabin 6 on Instagram, and Historical Femme, spelled FEMME, on Twitter. Catch me on episodes of the Restricted Section, Hell from Elsewhere, and True Stories of a Tryhard.
You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms, mainly Instagram and Tumblr. But on Twitter, I'm at GreenPixie123, which I'm not salty about. No, not at all. I also have an art Instagram that I sometimes use at GreenPixieDraws. I sometimes do the YouTube thing on my channel, Charlie Mack. That's MACK. And I also have another podcast called Fandom's Gone Wrong, where my mom and I talk about movies, TV shows, books, and whatever other fandoms we enjoy. You can find that on all the major podcasting apps.
Our music was written by Nora Strauss-Riggs and recorded and edited by Ian Emmerich. You can find Nora at Kane_I, that's I as in the body part, on Instagram and Twitter. Feel free to message her about making music for your project or editing your pod. She's the host of Siblings and Fandoms, where Nora and her sister Maddie talk about fandoms they're part of, ones they're not, and everything in between. She is also the host of Modern Musical Origin, which is an informative show delving into the history of different instruments and styles of music. You can find both of those pods on all the major podcasting apps. We are proud to be a part of the Movie Night Crew Network, which features the Restricted Section, a chapter-by-chapter Harry Potter pod with lots of spoilers all the time, and the Movie Night Crew. Join some friends as they react to some terrible, some meh, and some really great movies. Of the Eldest Gods is based on the series by Rick Riordan. Right now, we are discussing Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Remember to follow us on your favorite podcatcher and meet us back here every Thursday. So, Of the Eldest Gods is going to be a chapter-by-chapter... I thought I had to burp. I'll put that at the... That'll be our, ending clip. No.
That movie sucked. I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.